"That'll be one way to get us out of his hair," said Domenica, sniffling and still trying to catch her breath from her roar of laughter, grinding down rather joylessly now. Suddenly, all taunting seemed absent from the younger woman's voice and manner, and this now gave Lydia the opportunity to examine her even more closely, to store in her mind for future reference, perhaps, how of the two Domenica was by far the prettier one, and ironically, the one that also seemed the most bitter. Actually, it was her sister-in-law who invited us to keep our company while our brother tends to his farm, which is pretty much all he does nowadays anyway, from what we hear, she hiccuped. Our sister-in-law just wants to have us around as an excuse to paint the town red now and then, she added, leaning forward and bringing her tone down to a drawn-out and ostentatious whisper. Lydia took the 2.5 steps required to cross the cabin to look for a place to hang the dress she had bought for herself on the day she got her ship card, and which she intended to be wearing on the day she arrived in America, regardless of whether or not she had the kinds of shoes or work in black silk like that really demanded. "I don't think I've ever painted a town red," she then said, "or any other color for that matter either." Another salvo of laughs swelled around her, but it died out before it had even begun to really roll, and made way for an altogether different undertone, which Lydia was unable to quite place. She pretended to study the microscopic detail on the surface of the wall instead, but a light tap on her shoulder made her turn to encounter Benedetta's extended hand dangling an empty glass in front of her. "Maybe," Benedetta said, as she poured whatever was in the bottle in her other hand into the glass, "in the few days we have together we could teach you how a young lady gets to paint towns or ships red," she added conspiringly again, followed by a fast twitchy wink. "Who knows, we may properly prepare you for when you get to Buenos Aires." "You've been there?" "Now that's a place that will paint you red if you're not careful," Domenica said. "No, I haven't, but I know people who have," Benedetta answered as she retouched her sister's glass and then her own, which she had stuck in between the mattress and the board around her bunk. Lydia was yet to hear any real or even somewhat believable description of that place. Whenever people spoke of Buenos Aires, it was in the way one usually ventures to describe food or drink, or the basic parameters inside some emotional landscape few are ever able to really put into words, and becomes all the more luring because of it. Fact was that there were very few first-hand accounts to provide any certainty at all that such a place even existed, and might thus ever be lifted past the abstracts of mere colors and shapes. Lydia pushed down Benedetta's prune brandy, and as she felt her muscles convulse in protest to the rasp of it, she felt strangely hopeful as well, that perhaps, who knows, in raising a glass with the likes of these two, women whose floor she might have been mopping only yesterday, was proof that there was more indeed to what she could turn herself into eventually. That there was some grander reason for why people were boarding ships nowadays.